Keanu Reeves was mocked by bike dealership workers. They had no idea. He's the owner. Where are you watching from? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring stories. The warm glow of a Los Angeles sunset bathed the city in golden hues, its light glinting off the glass windows of a high-end motorcycle dealership nestled in an upscale neighborhood. The dealership was a haven for bike enthusiasts, boasting an array of gleaming motorcycles lined up like trophies, each one a masterpiece of engineering and design. The scent of leather, polished metal, and fresh coffee filled the air. As customers browsed, salespeople touted features, and engines occasionally roared to life. Amid the bustling activity stood a man who seemed completely out of place. His rugged leather jacket bore the marks of countless rides, his faded jeans and scuffed boots hinting at years of wear. His long dark hair partially obscured his face, and his posture was relaxed, almost subdued. He didn't draw attention, nor did he try to. He was just another face in the crowd, or so it seemed. That man was Keanu Reeves, though not a single person recognized him. Known for his humility and low-profile lifestyle, Keanu wasn't here to flaunt his celebrity status or make headlines. For him, motorcycles weren't just machines. They were an extension of his soul, a connection to freedom and a reminder of simpler joys. Keanu moved through the showroom quietly, running his hands over the handlebars of a classic model and admiring the craftsmanship. To him, each bike told a story, and this dealership held a treasure trove of them. But his quiet appreciation went unnoticed by the staff. They were busy catering to flashier customers, those who looked like they could afford the extravagant price tags. As Keanu lingered, his gaze calm and reflective, the stage was set for an encounter no one could have anticipated. Keanu's quiet admiration for the motorcycles didn't go unnoticed for long, but not in the way he might have hoped. A pair of dealership workers stood near the counter, their laughter rising above the low hum of conversation. They glanced at him with smirks, clearly unimpressed by his unassuming appearance. "Check out this guy," one of them muttered loud enough for Keanu to hear. "Looks like he couldn't afford a tire, let alone a bike." His colleague chuckled, shaking his head. "Probably just here to take a few selfies and dream. Bet he doesn't even ride." Keanu, unfazed by the comments, continued to examine a sleek black motorcycle, his fingers tracing the curves of the design. He had no intention of responding. Years in the spotlight had taught him to stay grounded and let negativity roll off his back. But the workers weren't done. One of them approached him, feigning politeness. "Hey, buddy," he said, his voice dripping with sarcasm. "Can I help you with something? Or are you just browsing?" Keanu looked up, his calm eyes meeting the worker's smug gaze. "I'm just admiring the craftsmanship," he said softly, his tone unassuming. "It's a beautiful piece of work." The worker snorted. "Yeah, sure, but these bikes aren't just for looking. They're for people who can actually afford them. You know, real riders." Behind the counter, the second worker stifled a laugh, leaning into his colleague. "Let him dream. It's not like he's buying anything." For a moment, Keanu said nothing, his expression unchanged. But the tension in the room was palpable. Other customers began to notice the interaction, some glancing over with curiosity, others with quiet disapproval. Little did they know, the quiet man in the leather jacket wasn't just a passerby. He had a connection to this place that would soon leave them stunned. The dealership workers' mocking laughter faded into the background as Keanu moved toward the back of the showroom, where a rare, custom-built motorcycle was displayed. Its sleek lines and intricate details were a testament to the art of engineering, and Keanu couldn't help but smile. This wasn't just any bike. It was one he recognized instantly. It was a model designed by Arch Motorcycle Company, the boutique motorcycle brand Keanu co-founded. The workers, oblivious to this connection, exchanged glances and smirks as they watched him examine the bike with quiet reverence. "Careful with that one," one of them called out, their tone still laced with sarcasm. "That's not just some Craigslist special. It's worth more than your wardrobe." Keanu's gaze remained on the bike, his fingers lightly brushing the polished tank. He knew every detail of its design, from the handcrafted components to the signature finishing touches. This wasn't just a motorcycle, it was a labor of love, a piece of his soul made tangible. Another customer, an older man in a tailored suit, approached the bike and glanced at Keanu. "It's beautiful, isn't it?" the man said, unaware of who he was speaking to. "I've heard the owner of this company is a real visionary, someone who's passionate about every detail." Keanu smiled faintly. "You could say that." The workers, noticing the interaction, strolled over, eager to reassert their authority. "You like this one?" one of them asked with a smirk. "Maybe you should take a picture. It'll last longer." This time, Keanu turned to face them fully. There was no anger in his expression, just calm resolve. "Actually," he said, his voice steady and kind, "I think I'd like to talk to the manager. Would you mind letting them know I'm here?" The workers exchanged confused looks, their smirks faltering. Sure," one muttered before disappearing into the back office. The atmosphere in the showroom shifted. Customers watched with growing curiosity, sensing that something significant was about to happen. Keanu waited patiently, his demeanor unchanged, as the truth that was about to unfold hung in the air like the calm before a storm. Moments later, the manager emerged from the office, a middle-aged man with a polished demeanor and a confident stride. His eyes scanned the room before landing on Keanu. Almost instantly, his expression shifted from indifference to surprise and then to something resembling awe. "Mr. Reeves," the manager said, his voice carrying a mix of excitement and respect, "I wasn't expecting you today." The room fell silent. The workers froze mid-step, their smirks vanishing as they exchanged wide-eyed glances. Customers murmured in hushed tones, some already pulling out their phones, realizing they were in the presence of none other than Keanu Reeves. Keanu nodded at the manager with a small smile. "I decided to stop by and see how things were going," he said, his tone casual but warm. "I wanted to check on the bikes and the overall experience here." The workers' jaws dropped as the realization hit them like a freight train. This wasn't just some random customer or a Hollywood star passing through. Keanu Reeves was the owner of the very company behind the custom bikes they were mocking him about. The manager glanced at the workers, his brows furrowing in disappointment. "I trust my team has been helpful and professional?" he asked, though the pointed tone of his question suggested he already suspected otherwise. Keanu looked at the workers, who now seemed rooted to the spot, their faces pale. "Well," he began, his calm voice carrying weight, "they did offer some colorful commentary on my ability to afford these bikes. It was insightful, to say the least." The manager's face turned crimson as he turned to the workers. "I'll handle this immediately, Mr. Reeves. I'm so sorry for the behavior you experienced." Keanu raised a hand, stopping him. "It's okay. Mistakes happen," he said, his tone forgiving but firm. "But I do hope it serves as a reminder that you never know who you're speaking to, or what they might bring to the table." The workers stammered, attempting to apologize, but their words stumbled over each other. The manager nodded solemnly, clearly embarrassed. Meanwhile, the customers watched with newfound admiration for Keanu, who had handled the situation with grace rather than anger. As the tension settled, Keanu turned back to the custom bike, his fingers once again tracing its curves. "It's good to see this one here," he said to the manager. "It's a special piece. It deserves to be treated with respect." The manager nodded, understanding the depth of Keanu's words. The workers stood silently, chastened and unsure of their futures. The atmosphere in the dealership had shifted entirely, the weight of the lesson Keanu had imparted hanging in the air. As the weight of the moment settled over the room, Keanu turned to face the crowd. His calm gaze swept across the dealership, lingering on the stunned workers, the curious customers, and the humbled manager. He cleared his throat, his voice steady, yet carrying a quiet authority that commanded attention. "There's something motorcycles teach us," Keanu began, his words cutting through the silence like the low rumble of an engine. "They remind us to respect the journey, not just the destination. Every rider, no matter where they come from or what they look like, knows that the road doesn't care about your status or wealth. It only cares about how you ride it." His words resonated deeply, and even those who had no interest in motorcycles found themselves nodding in agreement. Keanu wasn't just talking about bikes, he was talking about life. "You see," he continued, his tone softening, "what matters isn't what someone looks like or what you assume about them. It's the passion they carry, the respect they show, and the effort they put in. That's what makes a true rider and a good person." The two workers, now visibly uncomfortable, lowered their heads, their earlier arrogance replaced by quiet shame. They seemed to understand that this wasn't just about their behavior toward Keanu. It was a reminder about how they treated everyone who walked through the dealership doors. Keanu turned to Elliot, the young boy who had been watching from a corner, his eyes wide with admiration. "And for people like him," Keanu said, gesturing toward the boy, These bikes aren't just machines, they're dreams, they're freedom, and it's up to all of us to respect those dreams." The boy beamed, and a few customers clapped softly, the sound growing as others joined in. The applause wasn't for Keanu's celebrity status, but for the wisdom and humility he had shown. Keanu smiled faintly, his mission accomplished. "The road is for everyone," he said, his final words lingering in the air like the memory of a perfect ride. "Let's make sure we treat it, and each other, with the respect we all deserve." The workers mumbled apologies, their faces flushed. The manager nodded, clearly taking mental notes to ensure the lesson stuck long after Keanu left. But the moment wasn't just for them. It was for everyone who had witnessed it. A reminder of humility, respect, and the importance of looking beyond the surface. As the applause subsided, the atmosphere in the dealership felt transformed. What had started as a regular day in a luxury showroom had become something far more meaningful. Customers, staff, and even passers-by who had wandered in were left reflecting on what they had just witnessed. A lesson in humility, passion, and the power of simple kindness. Keanu Reeves, ever the understated figure, turned to the manager with a faint smile. "Thank you for showing me around," he said, his tone as warm as it was sincere. "You've got some beautiful bikes here. I'll be back soon to check in again." The manager, still flustered but grateful, nodded. "Of course, Mr. Reeves. We'll make sure everything is up to your standards moving forward." Keanu didn't respond to the manager's apologies or promises with reprimands. Instead, he turned his attention to the young boy who had been silently watching him from the back of the room. Walking over, he crouched slightly to meet the boy's eye level. "You like bikes?" Keanu asked, his voice soft but inviting. The boy nodded eagerly, his excitement barely contained. "I love them. I want to have one someday." Keanu smiled and gestured toward one of the smaller, more accessible models on the floor. "Dreams like that? They start right here," he said. "Never stop dreaming, and one day you'll get there." The boy beamed as Keanu gave him a small, encouraging pat on the shoulder. The gesture was simple, yet it spoke volumes to everyone in the room. As Keanu made his way to the exit, the entire dealership seemed to hold its breath. He gave a small wave to the crowd, who watched him leave in stunned silence. Outside, the setting sun painted the sky in hues of orange and purple, casting a glow over the figure of Keanu Reeves as he walked away, embodying quiet dignity and timeless wisdom. Behind him, the dealership was forever changed. The workers who had mocked him now stood humbled, the customers left inspired, and the young boy, his eyes filled with hope, held onto a dream that felt closer than ever. For everyone who had witnessed that day, it wasn't just a moment they would remember. It was a story they would tell, a lesson they would carry, and a reminder that kindness and respect always leave a lasting impact. And as Keanu rode off into the distance on a sleek motorcycle, the hum of the engine fading into the wind, one thought echoed in the minds of everyone who had seen him. Not all heroes wear capes. Some just ride motorcycles and change lives along the way.